6 quarterbacks were selected in the first round of this weekend's NFL draft. They went to different and unique teams. Some of them went to good situations, some challenging, and at least one quarterback went to a potential bad situation for him. That's today on My Take. Drake Maye was selected as the 3rd pick in the first round of the NFL draft recently. And in going to the New England Patriots, in my opinion, he's going to the worst possible scenario of any of the 6 quarterbacks drafted in the first round. Drake Maye will no doubt go into training camp as QB1 for the Patriots, meaning he's going to line up with the first team on the day 1 of practice, day 1 of training camp. This sets the stage for a potentially rough go for the young man out of North Carolina. And these are the reasons that I believe Drake Maye has some tough sledding ahead of him. Number 1, head coach Gerard Mayo. I want you to listen to Mayo's introductory press conference with owner Robert Kraft at his side. And when we're done with this clip, we'll discuss.
You want your locker room to be pretty diverse, and you would want the world to look like that. What I will say, though, is I do see color, because I believe if you don't see color, you can't see racism. And whatever happens, black, white, disabled person, I've always, even someone with disabilities, I always, for the most part, people are like, when they're young, they kind of make the spot hot. Younger people know what that means. But what I would say is, no, I want you to be able to go up to those people and really understand those people. So it goes back to whatever it is, black, white, yellow, it really doesn't matter, but it does matter so we can try to fix a problem that we all know we have.
First off, Mayo, who played for the Patriots and is coached in the NFL, should know that race does not have a factor or play a factor in football whatsoever. Sports and football have always been, and hopefully will always be, all about meritocracy. That is, the best players get drafted, the best players start, and the best coaches get hired. The only time that race is an issue in football is when you've got dumb shit media asking dumb shit racism questions, and then you've got woke head coaches that pontificate on the subject. And I'll bet that every head coach in the league shook their head and winced when they watched that clip of Mayo in his press conference. And then Coach Mayo makes the unbelievable statement about inclusion and having diversity in his locker room. Huh? Come again? What? What are we talking about, diversity in your locker room? Does that mean that you want more 5'10" offensive linemen? That you need to sprinkle in more cornerbacks, DBs that run 4.9? That you need more inside linebackers that are 180 pounds? What are we talking about? If any of you know, please post it in the comments down below and let me know what he's talking about with diversity in a football locker room. So Drake Maye is going into a situation where he's going to be playing for a head coach who has stated that the most important lesson that he's learned that's going to carry him forward in his coaching career with equity and inclusion is what he learned working for a finance company. Wow. Number 2, Gerard Mayo is a defensive head coach, and he put such a premium on offense that he went out and hired as his quarterback coach a guy that's got exactly 1 year experience coaching quarterbacks. He's been coaching for 12 years since he broke into coaching. 1 year coaching the QBs. Talking about T.C. McCartney, who comes to the Patriots from the Cleveland Browns, where he coached the tight ends for the last 2 years. Prior to Cleveland, he was with the Denver Broncos for one season, coaching the quarterbacks, and he was removed after that season. This is the guy that you're entrusting to coach up your number one draft choice, quarterback Drake Maye. And this is a problem for more than just the experience or inexperience of McCartney. This is combined with the inexperience of Drake Maye. Maye is young, and in my opinion, he is raw with his ability. But let's get back to the experience thing. You know, he had 2 years of eligibility remaining at North Carolina. So when he broke into college, he redshirted his first year and then competed for 2 years. Okay. His second year was this 2023 season. And now he's in the NFL, basically playing 2 years of college football. He's young and he's raw. And you combine that with a raw and inexperienced quarterback coach, and that doesn't bode well for young Drake Maye. Now, there have been quarterbacks in the past and have been able to jump into the NFL at a young age with less experience than, let's say, a fifth-year senior. But Maye is a work in progress, and he's got a lot of mechanical issues that he comes into the NFL with. Maye's mechanics, particularly with his lower body, feet, platform, weight distribution, balance, they need work. And as you can see in these clips here, his platform is wildly inconsistent. And a lot of times where he ends up with his platform after his drop, his feet are far too narrow. Other problems that he has with his feet and his drop, when he gets to the end of his drop, he hops around. When you're hopping and you're up in the air with both feet off the ground, you can't throw the ball, obviously. So it's getting out of his hand late. Another problem that Drake Maye has, and you can see this time after time in game clips, is he creates unnecessary pressure by drifting to his left. So he's got his left tackle who is vertically setting in pass protection. And instead of Maye sitting in that cup, that pocket that his O-line's providing for him, he drifts to the left. And he ends up having to throw the ball off balance or with his tackle in his face, and it's unnecessary. Another issue that needs to be addressed with Maye in the pocket is he takes unnecessary climbs up. He climbs the pocket unnecessarily. And so instead of getting rid of the ball on time, he holds it, freezes, and I don't know if this is mental or what, and then he will climb the pocket where he doesn't need to do it. And what happens when he does this, much like drifting to his left to create unnecessary pressure, when he climbs in the pocket and continues to climb, he ends up running into the back of his center or one of his guards, which forces him to throw the ball off balance. All of these feet issues with him lead to accuracy problems, and that is a major concern. I've talked about this on other shows. Poor accuracy can almost always be traced to a quarterback's lower body, his center of gravity, his balance, his weight distribution, his platform, his feet. Now, these are all coachable problems. The big question is he going to get these problems fixed? Okay, and then at the end of the day, with accuracy, and you get those lower body problems corrected. With quarterbacks, I'm a firm believer in accuracy. You either have it or you don't. And Drake Maye is very inconsistent throwing the football. Now, we'll see what happens if McCartney's able to correct his footwork and how that improves his accuracy. We'll see how it plays out. So the lower body issues and the mechanics with his feet and his drop, those are all correctable things through coaching and proper reps and practice. But May also has issues where he just doesn't pull the trigger on time. And that's a little bit harder to correct for quarterbacks. And I don't know what the problem is with him, but instead of taking his drop and throwing it in rhythm and tempo and get the ball out of his hand, it's like he freezes and he's either not sure of what he's seeing, or I hope he is not thinking like this, where he just doesn't like underneath throws and he's going to wait to get the ball downfield. So he starts to climb, or he drifts to his left, drift. Either way, when a quarterback does that, your passing game is hurt because it's all built on rhythm and tempo. The receivers are all working to get each other open on these route schemes. And the best pass offenses, the quarterbacks get the ball to their receivers when they're the most open in grass so they can catch and run. You got a quarterback that holds the ball and creates unnecessary pressure for himself by what he does in the pocket with his footwork. And that just bogs down your passing game. Okay, number 3, the supporting cast for the Patriots on offense is suspect. And we start with the offensive line. They just weren't good up front this past season. The supporting cast for the Patriots on offense is suspect. And we start with the offensive line. They just weren't good up front this past season. And, that's an issue for any quarterback. You throw on top of that, there are some questionable attitudes in New England's locker room. That was an issue last year. I'm not sure if they were able to clear some of those guys out. I do know that last season they had that attitude problem, and they also had a lack of leadership, which leads me to this. Drake Maye coming in with the quarterback situation and depth chart at New England. Who's going to be his mentor? Who's going to be the guy that he can watch and use as a visual example of how to play quarterback in the NFL? Okay, number 4, Drake Maye is QB1. So he's going into training camp as the guy. And I think that this is going to be potentially a problem for him because he's got issues that he needs to work on physically with his mechanics. And he's got an inexperienced coach who's going to be hopefully changing his mechanics. I'm not sure how that's going to play out. But the biggest problem I see for Drake Maye in his situation with New England is he's a young kid, talented, but young, and boom, he's going to be in the spotlight, in the glare, in the media scrutiny. All the pontificators and pundits and gurus are going to be critiquing his performance on the first day of training camp all the way through his first season. Okay, he's got to learn an NFL playbook. He's got to be able to adjust to the speed of NFL defenses. He's got to get used to new coaching. He's going to have mechanics that are going to be changed. How is he going to handle this situation when the spotlight and the pressure of New England Patriots' success for 2024 is all shining on Drake Maye? Time will tell. So at the end of the day, are the Patriots walking Maye into a fail scenario? He doesn't have the luxury of sitting behind a veteran and learning the game like Michael Penix Jr. does in Atlanta with Kirk Cousins. Is he going to be mature enough and strong enough mentally to handle all this stuff that's coming at him? And it's going to be a lot of shit coming his way. Hopefully he can. I mean, I'm a fan of Drake Maye's. I want to see him succeed. I just don't know if going to the New England Patriots is the best situation for him as a quarterback. Now, I could be way off base with all this. Okay, head coach Gerard Mayo could be He could have just had a bad day on his introductory press conference. He may not be woke after all. He may have a vision for the Patriots. He may be able to develop them. He may be able to realize that in his locker room, it's not about diversity. It's about getting good players in there and making sure you've got guys that have proper attitudes and set the tone for the success that they need to have on the field. I could be wrong with TC McCartney. He may turn out to be a QB coach gem in the NFL. Nobody knows. He's only been doing it for 1 year. He's an unknown quantity. And then Drake may fool me in the fact that he might be one of these guys that's just a phenomenon that comes in and overcomes all the other stuff floating around the universe for the New England Patriots and rises above the fray and lights people up and takes them to the promised land. We'll see. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. And if you enjoy listening to my take and my insight on playing the absolute hardest position in all of sports, the quarterback, then hit that subscribe button. Please post your comments down below also. I would love to know what y'all think diversity is in an NFL locker room. Be on the lookout for my next My Take when I talk about college and pro sports. Who's in charge? This is QB Unfiltered, and remember, always throw the ball short to guys who can score. See ya.